Okay, to do this project, what we're going to need is a drill. I decided to use an impact wrench style DeWalt. This is a little bit older of a model, but I'll put a link to a newer model that I actually use routinely in the description below. I also have a 3/8 inch drive, 3/8 inch socket and impact adapter, and then our bearing kit by XIKE Bearings. A little bit close up here of what we're actually installing. And inside the box you get all the things you could possibly need to do this install. It's pretty straightforward. So we'll get to it. Here's the subject door that we're going to be working on today. It's a little bit taller of a door. It's got a older style garage door opener. As you can see here, legacy garage door, overhead door opener. And we're going to try to make it quieter than what it was originally. Good morning. Today we're going to be installing two LiftMaster Elite Series 8500W garage door openers with battery backup. They're going to be mounted to this wall here in the center. Both openers, one to the left and one to the right. We've already completed our wiring. We put a 110 receptacle in the ceiling, and we've ran wire to control the opening and shutting of the doors. We still need to run the lines for the safety sensors that are down below here, and we'll add some to this side. We're not going to be reusing any of the old equipment. This garage door opener will get removed. It's a Craftsman style opener overhead, and we're going to regain all of this overhead space back. So basically both doors will have equivalent overhead space, which will be pretty nice. We'll see how this goes. This is in response to getting a quote from a local company that wanted to charge me $1,600 to do this install. That included the openers. I spent about $900 on Amazon. Free shipping. Took about 4 days for this equipment to get here. And I spent another $20 per door to upgrade the rollers, which I'll show you. I'll cut to that in this video, but basically added ball bearing rollers to make these buttery smooth for the opening. So that's that simple. And we're gonna get rid of this lock, these manual locks, and the new system actually has an automatic lock on it that'll engage and disengage as soon as the door is down. It'll engage a deadbolt that'll keep the door from opening. So a little bit more secure than this system. And look, just wanted to get a quick clip of the inside of this box. It's packaged pretty nicely, no issues. This shipped FedEx from a company out of Connecticut, and all the things that a professional installer would get for a fraction of the price. Good morning again. Just wanted to give you an update here. This is what the installation looks like so far. It's been about 2 hours worth of work, maybe less than that. I got the locks installed. The sensors are installed. Both sides. I actually have to move that rack because it's too close to the bottom here. You'll see that it's bumping up against it. So that was pretty simple installation. I'm glad I did not spend $1,700 to have somebody else come out here and do this work when it's pretty much DIY friendly. One thing of note, you have to install this cable tensioner device that senses the tautness of this cable, because if it slacks at all, it'll wind around this drum and you'll have a hell of a time getting it off. And you won't realize it because the motor on this is pretty robust and it'll just drive right through it. So that's one thing to keep in mind. I've got to route the wires still. I actually don't have any more staples to attach the wires, so I'm going to go out and get some of that equipment now. Take a little bit of a break. One also additional thing here, putting this lock in was pretty simple. Had to drill 3 different holes. I ended up buying a step drill bit that was able to easily accomplish that installation. And then have the overhead door opener that was up there completely removed. Installed the light that came with the openers. Routed it up to the old receptacle. That blue wire there is going to be retired in place. And what we're going to do is use this brown wire that I routed through the floor, actually through the ceiling, but the floor is how I routed it on the second floor above, because I had the floor up and it's easily routed through the floor that way. Over to this section, kind of cut over to this area here. Here we're going to tie the brown wire, which is a 5-wire 22 gauge, to this, I think it's a 7 or 8 wire gray wire, which will easily be able to drive then the opener from over there. So we'll use that brown wire there, we'll split it apart, and 2 leads to that opener, 2 leads to that opener, that'll leave an extra lead, and won't matter, we'll leave that. And then here we'll match the brown wire, the 2 leads to the left opener and 2 leads to the right opener, and tie that into the gray wire. And then from there, the gray wire will be on the wall, and we'll have that 1 gray wire, and we'll pull 2 sets of leads out of it to go to 2 different openers. And that should be pretty simple. Much more efficient, no wires showing in the overhead, and a ton of overhead space available with these 2 new openers. So hopefully the clients like it. And here's the finished product. Both openers are installed, they're wired up, and it came out pretty nice. The wire going down the locks automatically disengages the lock when you hit the open button, and then leaves the lock disengaged until you shut it again. And once the door is shut, it re-engages the lock. And you can see that cable tensioner installed above. Let's see if I get a better shot here. And what that does is just rides along this cable, and if for some reason there's slack in this cable, this would stop the opener from moving until you unwound the drum there. Take a look inside here. Pretty straightforward setup here. So this is the program button, and this here, if you press the center button, it'll actually allow you to program the travel. Pretty easy to do. And then you can see here the lock wire goes in here. One thing I don't like about this is they only give you 1 lock per opener, and they charge quite a bit for the other lock if you wanted to put a lock on either side. So you see down here there's a lock there, and if you wanted to, you could put a lock on the other side of the door, so you'd have a double lock per door. I don't know necessarily why you'd want to do that, because if you can see here, it takes a lot of effort to lift that door, and then even if you do, you're going to have to go through that deadbolt that goes through the truck. So pretty simple install. Took probably about 2 hours, 2.5 hours. What the long lead time was, I had to go out and get a staple gun because I ran out of staples. Actually, not the staple gun, but just the staples. It was all out. But the low voltage wire gets stapled across the sheetrock, pretty easy to do. And if you can see up here, I added another piece of wire just to maintain tension on these cords, slight tension that is, to ensure that they don't get unplugged inadvertently. One other thing to remember here, these 8500Ws have a battery backup. So when you first plug in your battery, it goes in this little battery compartment here. and you'll see this light flash really fast green, indicating that it's in a charge mode. And then once it's a solid green, that means the battery's fully charged. So the batteries came pretty much charged right up, so it was no real issue there. And you can see there's plenty of clearance between the two door openers. And I don't even know if you're gonna be able to hear it when I go and hit the button to open these up. But let me try to see if you can get some of the sound. They're ultra quiet and a ton of headroom. So here's what you can't even. And you see there, it's soft stop. And you heard that click. Initially, it was the deadbolt opening. And there, if I get a shutting and watch the deadbolt go over. And that's it, locked up tight. And here are the pull strings. This is actually how you disengage the door. So you pull on it until it clicks, and then you pull on it again until it clicks again, and that would re-engage the opener. So all in all, a pretty solid install, significantly cheaper than the $1,700 that I got a quote for to install both of these. Now that included the roller ball bearing upgrade. So my total cost here was about $960 for the two door openers shipped from Amazon. I'll put a link in the description below. And then also for the ball bearing rollers, I had gotten those from Amazon as well. Those are about $20 shipped as well. So under $1,000, or just at $1,000 for this opener install. And mind you, the garage door company was not gonna run the wire and was not gonna run the electrical. So that was still a cost that I had to do in addition to the openers. So it might be a little bit more costly if you do these types of openers than the normal overhead opener, but you definitely get what you pay for. They're incredibly quiet, and I highly recommend the LiftMaster 8500W to install in your garage.